Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to share my screen now. Let me know if you can see my screen. By the way, is the experience better with Zoom so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
All right. So let's move and let's see.
It is better.
Better, yeah? Nice. All right. So, all right, so fonts, colors, and images. Okay. I'm just going to go over it and take my time to explain using Canva when I'm done with the slides. All right. Or I think it would be best for me to do it while I'm doing it. All right. So introductions into why fonts, colors, and images matter. All right. So selecting fonts can be a daunting task, right? Again, there's possibility of all the manner of fonts that we have. But if you have a good understanding of how to use it, you can make your designs amazing. All right. Colors, obviously, the relationships are fundamental. Just realized that I was supposed to share. I didn't finish the slide I was supposed to show you yesterday on colors. So I'm just going to find that slide right now. And go back there. Okay. So let me explain colors here first before I continue on that slide. All right. Where is my slide? It's right here. So sorry. Okay, yeah. So here we go. I was on the pages about colors. Now I'm going to explain colors. Obviously, many of us probably have learned about colors when we were younger and all of that. So you know the primary colors are yellow, blue, and red. All right. That's probably about all the things that you know. But I'm going to share more stuff with you about colors, especially about their relationships. All right. So first of all, there's something called a color wheel, right? I'm sure many of you know what a color wheel is. All right. So a color wheel is a wheel that shows the relationships between colors. So here we have the primary colors, and the primary colors are the ones that are bold, right? Red, blue, and yellow. And you can see that they are spaced out very accurately in the sense that you have primary color and then you have 1, 2, 3. You have another primary color, you have 1, 2, 3. You have another primary color, you have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they are equidistant from each other on the color wheel. All right, that's one of the ways that relationships can be determined, how equidistant they are on the color wheel. All right, so obviously you know what primary colors are: red, blue, and yellow. Why are they primary colors? I don't know, but they are primary colors. Okay. Now, secondary colors, why are they secondary colors? Because they are from the mixture of two primary colors. So you have blue and red. Okay, sorry. You have blue and red. Sorry, my line. You have blue and red, purple.
David, that slide is not showing.
You can't see my slide.
Yeah, it's still showing the first slide. That's what we're saying.
Oh,
Fonts
sorry.
and image.
All right, can you see it now?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay. Sorry about that. Right. So here we have primary colors. Primary colors are blue, red, and yellow, okay? And they're equidistant from each other on the color row. So where here you have 1, 2, 3 red, 1, 2, 3 yellow, 1, 2, 3 blue, okay? Basic and very simple. Why primary colors are primary colors, I don't think I know, right? But they are primary colors. Now, secondary colors are secondary colors because they are the mixture of two primary colors. And since we have only three secondary colors, three primary colors will have three secondary colors as well. So here we have blue and red giving us violet or purple. Here we have blue and yellow giving us green. So green is here. And you can see that it's kind of like in the middle of both of them. So it shows like exact mixing of like the exact merging kind of, okay? Now here we have orange, which is shown here. Yellow and red will give you orange, okay? Those are secondary colors. Then we have tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are formed from the mixture of a primary and a secondary color, okay? So what we have here is we have red and orange, because red is a primary color, orange is a secondary color, gives us reddish orange. Here we have purple and red is going to give us purplish red or reddish purple. Okay, so that's how the tertiary colors are named. Okay, and then if you go around, you see the same thing like that. Green and because green is a secondary color, yellow is a primary color, it's going to give us yellow green, kind of like line-ish. Okay. Do you understand primary, secondary, and tertiary colors? Is anybody lost at this point?
Yes, I understand.
Okay, good. If you are lost, let me know. If you understand, you can just stay cool. All right. If you get lost at any point, please don't forget to stop me so that I don't move past you. All right. So now we have complementary colors. Now, a complementary color is simply determining the relationship between the colors. Now, complementary colors are colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. Opposite each other, meaning the way you have green here and red here, directly opposite each other, they are complementary colors. So obviously, green and red is going to give you Christmas vibes. All right. They are complementary colors. They complement each other almost every single time. Okay. Now, so if green and red is complementing each other, obviously blue and what color is here?
Orange.
Orange. Blue and orange are complementary colors. Okay. Here we have what? Purple or violet. All right. And what's the complementary color to purple or violet?
Yellow.
Exactly. Okay, so that's how complementary colors work. Okay, they are colors that are directly opposite each other on the color wheel. Now, in case you're having issues with selecting colors and stuff like that, this is one very easy way to find a good color relationship that you can work with for your design. Okay, now analogous colors. Analogous colors are colors that are side by side each other on the color wheel. You come in sets of fours. Okay, so you have purple, or no. Here you have bluish purple or bluish violet. You have violet, you have reddish violet, and then you have red. Okay, so the same thing. If you have, okay, Shalom. Hello, Shalom. You raised your hand. Was it a mistake?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I have a question actually about using like this method of choosing colors for design actually. Like you mentioned, it's one of the easiest of actually picking colors for your design.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Whenever I try to like use all these complementary colors, like mixing them, it doesn't exactly look like they actually blend together like that.
Okay, so I'm going to go later. So this is a very basic.
Big question.
Yeah, I get your question. This is a very basic introduction into colors, right? Now,
Maybe I'm doing it wrongly. I don't know.
no. You might not be doing it wrongly. You might just need to add some things. For example, Many complementary colors, when you use complementary colors, many times, if you use them in their exact shades, right, it might not come out very nice. Sometimes you need to play with the shades, okay? If you saw the assignment I gave you, did you remember that we had yellow and purple on the second line? Can you remember?
Yes.
Exactly. Yellow and purple are complementary colors, but the shade of purple I used is much darker than what you're seeing here. Okay, not because they wouldn't have worked, obviously they will have worked, but it's just my attempt to increase the contrast. Okay, so it works like that with many other color relationships. Sometimes you might need to play with the shade to find the perfect blend that suits the purpose for which you're designing. Do you understand? Shalom. Okay. All right. So I'll just proceed. Analogous colors, but is anyone lost at this point? Do you understand what I said so far?
Yes.
Okay. Now, analogous colors, like I was explaining, are colors that are side by side each other on the color wheel. Okay. So the way you have these four colors beside each other on the color wheel, if you go anywhere at any point of the color wheel, any four colors that are side by side each other on the color wheel, they will definitely bang. Now, they will definitely work together. Okay, so I'm going to do some designs with analogous colors and you're going to see what is going to look like. Okay, and sometimes you might not necessarily need to use four of them, you might just use three, or you might even use just two, okay, in your design. All right, so those are two. Is someone asking a question? Nobody. All right, so now, so this is a kind of deeper color relationship explanation. All right, so you probably have heard of monochromatic colors. Let me explain what monochromatic colors are to you. So when you come here, for example, let me create a new page. Okay, I create a shape. The size of this shape is a square. All right, and I come to my colors. All right, I want to make a design with this color. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate this. Yeah, just to create another. Sorry, I didn't need to duplicate the page. Just the box. Okay, let me duplicate this again to show you what the monochrome looks like. Monochrome is basically reducing in value or increasing in value. All right, so when you shade a color, you add black. When you tint a color, you add white. Do you understand? So for example, between white and black, there are shades of gray. Okay, so between white and black, you have shades of gray. All those shades of gray, in ascending order, you are shading them. In descending order from black to white, you are tinting it. All right. So that's what a monochrome looks like. And a monochrome can work for any other type of color. So there's a red monochrome, there's green monochrome, there's yellow monochrome, from white to deep yellow, and then deep yellow back to white. All right. So let me show you what that looks like. Have I lost anyone at this point? So you can see here, right? Canva is intuitively even showing you a black to white monochrome. All right, so you can see that as it's going downwards, it's getting brighter. As it's going upwards, it's getting darker. Okay, so when it's getting darker, it's called shading. When it's getting brighter, it's called tinting. All right, so note these words. Those little elements will actually help you stand out as a designer as you master those terms. I'll share some design terms with you that I want you to study, and then those are some of the things that I'll quiz you on at the end of the course. All right. Now, for any color, you can tint or shade. Okay, so imagine that I come here. All right. This is the first color. If I come down this way, all right, you can see. Sorry about that. Okay, so you can see. So look at this now. If I come to my color here, right, and I come here, now you can see what's happening here. It's getting deeper and then brighter. Okay, so if I come here and I select my color, this is exactly what it is. If I want it to go brighter, I'll just keep going in this direction, or better still in this direction, because I want to take it bright. Okay, so I'll come to the next one, select this color, drag it upwards. It's getting brighter, yeah? And then instead of me to continue with this, I'll just duplicate this. Okay. And then from this color, what I'll do is I'll go upwards a little more. Can you see it's tinting already? Yeah. Please let me know if you understand how this is working and the concept behind it. Okay. Is it clear how I did it and why I did it? Do you understand the concept?
Yes, okay.
All right. So basically, this is what tinting and shading, this is what a monochrome looks like. Now, if you have your design and you want your design to be in a monochrome format, obviously, monochromes always work, okay? Because it's a very safe space to work with as a designer, right? Someone's mic, who is that? Sorry, I need to find the person. Mary, can you hear us? Hello, Mary. Mary. Okay, she's quiet now. So let me just continue. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to continue. Okay. So I'm just going to drag this to the total end because I want to finalize it. All right. Now, so this is exactly what tinting and shading looks like in terms of monochrome. Okay. So that's what monochrome looks like. And then it can also go from this color to black to this color to white. All right. So that's how monochrome works. Now, complementary, like I already explained, are colors that are directly opposite each other. As you can see here, there's a tonal gradation. So typically, if you want to use different shades, you want to use a dark shade of green and a bright shade of red, or a dark shade of red and a bright shade of green. Okay. And then now split complementary. Split complementary is when you select this color, all right, and then the color opposite it. Instead of using the complementary color, you use the two colors beside the complementary color of that color. Is that complex? Should I explain it again?
Yes. Yes, please repeat.
Okay. So now red is look at this color wheel, for example, right? Let me find the complete color wheel. Look at this. This is a complete color wheel. All right. So we have purple or violet. This is violet. All right. Now, what's the complementary color to violet? Yellow, right? So if I want to do a design with a split complementary color scheme, I'm going to select violet, Then instead of selecting yellow, I'm going to select this orange and this this yellowish orange and this yellowish green. Do you understand? So I'm going to select 1, 2, 3. Do you get that?
Yes.
Did you get that?
Yes.
Right. So that's another way of selecting colors. Okay. All right. So double complementary. All right. Now, all these things are just technical terms. Eventually, you most likely want to freestyle your colors and just figure out what works if you have a good contrast and all of that. But this is a very quick guide to guide you if you have no idea what to do. Okay. So double complementary is when you select 2 colors on the color wheel and you select the 2 opposite colors on the color wheel. So look at this, right? 1, 2, and then directly opposite them, you select both of them. So imagine you have 2 primary colors, for example, green and red, right? But you don't want to use green and red, but you want to use the color right next to green and the color right next to green on the right side and the color next to green on the left side. Then you select red, you don't select red. You select the color next to red on the left and the color next to red on the right. Do you understand that? That's what is called double complementary. Okay, so 2 colors and the 2 colors opposite them on the color wheel. The same way you have green opposite red. This time you're going to take 2 colors and select the 2 colors opposite them. Do you understand the split complementary?
Double complementary.
Sorry, double complementary.
Yes.
All right. So I've explained analogous colors and obvious. All right, Shalom. Hello, I can hear you speak.
I want to ask, does Canva have a color part to maybe the one that has not fit yet?
Come again. Does what?
Like to pick colors. Canva have color picker too, like where you can directly pick the color down from
No,
the
no, no.
color wheel.
Canva doesn't have a color picker
Or
tool.
we have to look.
Yeah, you have to look up the hex. You have to look up the hex color. I'll share that with everyone now. Canva doesn't have a color picker tool. What it does that's closest to a color picker tool is when you import an image and when you select your colors, it's going to show you the colors from your image. So it's kind of like the equivalent of a color picker tool. Do you understand?
Wait, I think he has a color picker too, because I used it a couple of times. Like phone, mobile device.
You mean on your phone?
Yeah. Yes, phone.
Oh, okay. No, I hardly use the phone. So I
Get back Canva on your phone.
Come again.
So you're fine. Just use your laptop. Believe me.
Like, wait, please, yeah, can you double check? Because it's when you press the where there is a rainbow, like 4 colors, then the plus sign on it.
Here?
Oh, okay. Oh, it's not here.
Yeah, no, it's not a color picker. It's just you can select the hex, you can change the color, and then yeah, that's all that happens here.
Thank you.
All right. So now one more thing. There are 2 sides. There are 2. All right. So there are 2 opposite sides of the color wheel, obviously, right? Because it's a circle, almost like any other shape. So on this side, you can see these colors are cool colors. So cool is the opposite of warm, passive is the opposite of active. right? Let me explain cool, passive, active, and warm, right? Now, active colors here. Now, if you see, this is dark gray, so this is dark gray. Active colors are colors that are more vibrant, all right? Active colors are very, very vibrant colors, while passive colors are kind of dull. Do you understand? And then cool colors are more on the dull side, while warm colors are more also on the bright side. Obviously, it's almost like an unnecessary repetition of dark and bright, but just to help you understand that you have colors that are cool and passive, then you have colors that are warm and active. So all these colors right here are these bright colors. These bright colors are warm and active, while these other sides, and you can obviously see them. These colors look like they have a lot more black in them, and these colors look like they have more brightness in them. Okay, so yeah, and that's it for this slide. All right, so I'm just going to continue my other slide, and then we can continue. Any questions so far? Yeah, any questions at this point? No questions yet. All right.
None from me.
I can't hear you.
None from me. I don't have any question.
All right, so let me proceed then. So I've explained color relationships and how they are fundamental to, you know, your, let me share my screen now. Okay, and how they are fundamental to great design. So knowing how to navigate color will help you understand how to compose, you know, really amazing design. Thirdly, images, they capture emotions in ways that almost no other elements can. So when you have the right image, when you place the right image properly, you're able to come up with great design. Okay. And remember, like I've always said, a lot of the hard work is in finding the right image. All right. So you want to take out your time to ensure that you find the perfect image for your design. All right. Fonts. Now, I'm also going to share some other resources on the group to explain the different types of fonts. Okay. Now, if you remember when I was working on my designs, there are some times when I'll just click on, go on and search for a sans font or go on and search for a serif font. Serif fonts are typefaces with the small decorative edges. So this thing that you're looking at here is called a serif, right? In fact, let me show you here when I try to explain the point of the serif course, just to give you an understanding and so that you have a good idea why they call different types of fonts, the different types of names that they have. And like I said, I'm going to share a document that has design terms with you, and I want you to understand them because I'm actually going to quiz you on them, okay? Like I said, also, understanding these design terms will help you know what to look for, how to find them. It's also going to help you have a good reputation outside as a designer when you are able to use like proper technical terms and stuff. All right. Okay, so it's taking too long. Let me just continue with this slide. So this thing here, this is called a serif. This thing here, this extra thing, because F could have just stopped here, but they added this bit. Okay, so that's a serif. Same thing here. The I could have stopped here, but they added this serif. So this is what is called a serif, and that's the inspiration behind this course. It's kind of like just the extra edge that just helps you stand out as a designer. Okay. Now, sans serif are geometric, easy to read. They do not have embellishments or they don't have a serif. So sans serif means no serif. All right. Do you get the idea? Serif means it has the decorative edges. Those decorative edges are called serifs. Sans serif means it doesn't have the decorative edges. All right. Now, script fonts represent like handwritten style that are more brush-like or paintbrushes-like kind of, and they many times they link together. So if you remember the design where we had Let's Talk, right? That was a script font. If you remember the design when I showed you in the first design where we had obviously, you know where the text, the serif was a serif font, okay? And then all the other texts in that assignment, they were all sans serif fonts, all right? Do you understand at least these basic 3 typographic terms? Does anyone have any questions about this? No. All right. I'll move on from here. Next page. Now, like I explained already in the first class when I was explaining how Canva works, there's letter spacing and there's line height. Okay. If you remember when I explained the serif when I was drawing that design, I increased the letter spacing. So letter spacing is like the space between the letters. It's also called tracking. So if you use advanced softwares like Photoshop, Illustrator, all those things, you'll see they'll most likely write tracking. All right. So it's the space between letters on the same line. So you have A, B, C, D, E. The space between the letter is letter spacing or tracking. All right. And you can increase the letter spacing to increase the tracking. You can reduce it to reduce the space between the lines. All right. Somebody's microphone is on again. All right, it's off now. Okay, now line height is simply distance between 2 texts from baseline to baseline. So baseline is, this is baseline. The line where the text sits on, that's called a baseline. All right, so line height is different with is the distance between the baseline of the first set of words and the next set of words. All right, so if you want to increase the baseline or reduce the baseline, you just need to increase line height or reduce line height. And I've showed you how to do that on Canva already, but just so that I'm able to explain it all over again so that there's no confusion on anybody's part. Or do I need to go over that because I feel like everyone here understands it already? Is there anyone that doesn't understand how to manipulate that on Canva? If you don't, just let me. You don't. All right, so let me show you. Let me open up a design really quickly. Okay. So I'm just going to show you. All right, so let me show you quickly. Create a new design. Okay, you can see the screen. All right. So this is the design that I did for the assignment. Okay. Now, you see this text, for example, okay? This text here. When you want to increase the line spacing on line height, letter spacing on line height, all you need to do is come here, spacing. So this spacing has letter spacing and line spacing. Okay, so when you increase it, you see that the baseline to baseline height is increasing. When you reduce it, the baseline to baseline height is reducing. All right, that's exactly how you can adjust it on Canva. And then for line spacing, if you increase it, it's going to increase the space between each letters. If you reduce it, it will reduce the space between each letters. Okay, is that clear so far? The person that asked.
Yes, it is.
All right. I'll continue with my slide. So, next, choosing your fonts, right? So you have to consider the style before you choose your fonts. And like I said, I'm going to give us an assignment today, okay? And the assignment is going to be, I'm not going to give you a template, I'm going to give you a request to make. I'm going to like make a request for you to design something, all right? So you're going to choose the font, you're going to choose everything yourself, choose the color, choose the image and all of that, okay? You guys are becoming big boys now, all right? So I'm going to show you, when you're choosing font, you need to consider the style. If you are designing for, obviously, when you see Walt Disney pictures, obviously it has some magical, whimsical effects to it. So you want to use a whimsical type of font. So you most likely use a script handwriting font because it's playful, right? Playful of fonts. So look at Toys R Us logo, right? Toys R Us logo is a sans font, but it's also playful, all right? It's not exactly like a handwritten font like this. So it doesn't have to be handwritten to be playful, okay? Now, next, you can see this very, very sweet sans serif font. It's stylish and sophisticated, all right? Same thing here. It's a sans serif font, but it seems to have this really tiny serifs. So it's not a sans serif, it's a serif actually, but the serif is really tiny, all right? So serifs have the idea of, like, serifs have the character of strong and reliable, all right? And also you see that in this logo, they used all caps, still trying to pass that message across of strength and reliability, all right? Somebody was talking, what did you say?
Strong and reliable like our serif.
Yes, strong and reliable like our serif, actually. All right, so let's move on to the next one. Choosing your fonts, you need to emphasize your message, all right? So, I mean, it will be ridiculous for you to use this kind of font when you're trying to maybe a hospital, except maybe it's a children's hospital. But even if it's a children's hospital, you are not appealing to the children, you're appealing to the parents, okay? So imagine using this for your project document. So this, instead of you to use Times New Roman, you want to use elegant, it will be hard to read, okay? So you need to choose your fonts to emphasize your message. When you see something like this, you obviously portray strength. This is a slab serif, right? Now, I didn't explain what slab serif is, but over time, I'm still going to explain what slab serif is. Slab serif is, you see how for a sans serif, we had this just very cute thing that just came out. But here, the serif is like a box. So it's usually called a slab serif. And most slab serif fonts are very thick, okay? So you know when you think of slab, a slab is something that is thick, right? So strong, when you feel, when you see it front like this, it obviously exudes strength, right? Elegant, you're obviously looking for a script font. Handmade, you're obviously looking for a handwritten, childish font. Simple, it's obviously a sans serif font. Cute is somewhere in between sans serif and handmade or handwritten, all right? And here we find this is a very slim serif font, okay? Can you see the serif? Very nice, all right? So depending on the message you're trying to pass across, when you are designing for, obviously when you saw, did you remember the design I did for Moshope's bakery, right? Because it's cake, you know, it has this feel of happiness, right? If I was designing for a bank, I would not use that font because I don't expect you to be messing around in the bank. You need to be serious with your money. Do you get? So the purpose of the design will determine the kind of fonts that you use, all right? Do we understand this so far?
Yes.
Good. Is anybody lost? If you're lost, let me know. If you're not, I'll just proceed. Okay. All right, let me proceed. Make it readable. Remember the first quote I wrote. Your design should communicate before it has a fizzy. All right. So obviously, you can see how much effigy this thing has, but it's difficult to read compared to using a simple sans serif font, and you can read what you're saying. All right, so don't forget you need to make it readable. So if I see your design and I see like 3 lines or 4 lines of using this kind of font, I'll know you do not pay attention in this class. All right, where you need to write a lot of text, do not use any decorative fonts. Use decorative fonts when you are writing a one-liner or even a word, just for emphasis sake. All right, or when you are trying to emphasize something like maybe a couple's name in a wedding, you know, those types of things. You don't use this kind of fonts for people to read long text. It's difficult to read. All right. Now, choosing your fonts, you need to create hierarchy. I explained hierarchy already. All right. Title is going to have a different size. From subtitle is going to have a different size as well. And the body font is also going to have a different size. Okay. You can also create different hierarchies for your title, subtitle, and body text. All right. So obviously your title is going to be heavy. Your subtitle will probably be, your subtitle can be bold or bold, and then your body can be thin or regular. Okay. So when you have heavy, bold, thin, all those things are called weights. All right, font weights. Right. So the thin is obviously thin. There's thin, regular. Some fonts have ultra thin and all of that, but those are just different weights of the exact same font. All right. So this is the exact same font, but in different weights. Okay, and not just in different weights, but in different sizes, all to create hierarchy and to create order in the eyes of the person that is viewing it. Okay. Do we understand this? Is there any confusion here? No. All right.
Understood.
Thank you. Next, character and pairing fonts. You need to create contrast with your your font pairing. All right. Very, very classic example when I did Mushokwe's bakery. Mushokwe was a handwritten font. Bakery was a nice sans serif font. Was it a sans serif or it was a sans serif font? Okay. When you want to create contrasts, like I said, remember when I explained the rules, the principles, create contrast. You can create contrast with value, with tone, with color. All right. So here we have two fonts, but you can see that there are two different line widths. Also, there are two different widths. All right. And when you have different widths, it creates a good contrast, even when they're the same fonts. All right. So you can create contrast even with when you're using the same fonts and the same size. But here you can create contrast with different sizes and different types of fonts. So creatives is obviously large, and then this sans serif cool crafting ideas is smaller. And here you can also see that the line spacing has been increased. Okay, so it's good to create contrast. You can create contrast with different types of fonts. All right. Next, create emphasis. All right. Now, here we have a serif regular and then serif italics. Okay. The same serif fonts, but we're using different styles. All right. So there's regular and there's fonts that are italicized. Okay. There's some designs you can actually have where all use are serif fonts. There's some where all use are sans serif fonts. But you need to create emphasis by ensuring that what is big, what is small should be small. Okay, so here you can see the mist that falls at night is obviously very big and it has good spacing out. Okay, same here, you can see Soda Pop is in a sweet sans font, all caps, and then specials where you have the serif italics is just there creating the nice contrast. So your emphasis here in this second design is obviously Soda Pop. All right. Very, very, very simple. Make sure that you create emphasis. Remember the design I gave you where we had let's talk. Let's talk was the emphasis. That was the first thing anybody that saw that design would have seen when it comes to like information that you had to read apart from the picture that was there. Okay. So it's your efforts to direct the eyes of the viewer to see what you want the viewer to see. All right. So don't forget to create emphasis and create contrast. Okay. Demand attention, right? Now, if you remember in the assignment I gave you where I had my name is David to me and I'm a pro designer. You can see that I spaced out some of the fonts, but I didn't condense any. All right. So sometimes, Thelma Bassi, I write on the screen. You can create attention. Obviously, as you saw this design, the first thing your eyes go to is towers, and it's because it's commanding your attention. All right. So in this case, every other text around the font, around the design is going to stay on the same height, on the same width, on the same width, but in order to achieve that, it needs to be spaced out. So like this, the greater, they spaced it out. All right, and then building foundry is also spaced out. Every other thing is spaced out, but towers is condensed. So because towers is condensed, your eyes tend to focus on it alone. Same way, if you have all condensed fonts and then one that is spaced out, people tend to look at the one that is spaced out. You're creating contrast with using different spacing. Okay, so don't forget, you can demand attention with your design by making the biggest thing bold, and you can use it through spacing and condensing your fonts. All right. Order and impactful alignments: left aligned, center aligned, right aligned, or in another case, it can be justified aligned. Okay, remember the previous assignment I gave where this, all right, in this assignment, you can see here, right, some of you, now let me explain something from, okay, I'm supposed to pay attention to the assignment after the class, so let me not jump the gun. All right. I'll just continue my slide. Okay, I'll go back to this later. All right, so left aligned, center aligned, and right aligned. If you are designing, make sure that your alignment is sharp. It's one of the most important things you would ever do as a designer. Make sure your alignment is sharp. When we are going through the assignments, I'll explain where some people made some errors and how we can rectify them. Okay. You can also create balance through spacing text. It's very similar to what I did with the serif, right? So I spaced out the, and then serif was not spaced out. Okay, so you can balance text through spacing. All right, like here you can see acrylic bar is obviously the biggest thing and spaced out, and then the rest are not. So your eyes obviously go to acrylic bar, and you can also see the different line widths. Sorry, the different widths. Acrylic is bold, bar is regular. All right, just to create that nice contrast, and then they're still spaced out. All right, so feel free to create contrast in the different ways that you can. Now, using the color wheel is the spectrum of 16 million different colors, very identifiable by a hex code. What is a hex code? A hex code, sorry. Okay, a hex code is a code that identifies a color. All right, and they usually they start with hashtags. That's the word. What's the name of this thing? Is it called hashtag? Twitter has already made me forget the name of this thing. All right. So when you, like I explained, I'm going to go back to Canva and explain how the hex code works. All right. But for example, if you work with a brand and they have their colors, many times you see brands, when they share their brand manual, you see they have a hex code. So the point of a hex code is such so that every single time you use their design, you have the exact same color in the exact same shade. All right, so you don't say MTN and then you just go and use the yellow of the serif. The yellow of the serif and the yellow of MTN are both yellow, but they're not the same shade of yellow. So if you want to be specific, you need the hex code. All right, so when you're designing, remember your hex codes, keep them. You can share them when you're sharing with anyone, just to ensure that they retain the exact same color that you're using. All right. I already explained how the warm and cool colors work. So you can evoke emotions through color. Obviously, when you use a cool color, it just evokes calm and soothing emotions. Many times, most banks use cool colors, right? If you notice, First Bank is blue, Heritage Bank is green, Union Bank is blue. The only banks that are, so there's red is Zenith, red is UBA, orange is GT, purple is Wema. Now, there's another thing I wanted to explain about your brand. So, for example, we know banks are obviously serious institutions, right? Now, but different brands, different banks have different brands. So, GTB as a brand is trying to portray their brand as ingenuine, as creative and fun. That's why they use a color like warm. unlike First Bank, who is trying to portray an emotion of reliability where they have the elephant and they use color blue. Okay, so different ways different brands want to portray their the emotion behind their brand. All right, so warm colors are red, oranges, yellows. They evoke emoji, they evoke energy, and they are vibrant emotions. So depending on what you want your brand to exude, is going to determine the kind of color that you're going to use. All right, this is a good time to let everyone know that by next week you'll be getting a client that you'll be working with. So reach out to all your friends and families, whoever is maybe running a business. If you are your own clients, that's fine. If you have a sister or a brother or a business, anybody, reach out to them. We're going to design a logo. We're going to design business cards, every single thing. Find someone who wants to design a new logo, right? Reach out to them. If they will pay you, let them pay you. If they will not pay you, use assignments, right? So this is a good time to start thinking about that, all right? Is there a question? Someone asking a question.
No, you find clients.
Is someone asking a question? So who's not? Okay. All right. So using colors, you can explore a gradient, right? Remember, I showed you how to use a gradient. Simply going straight down on the color wheel. Gradient is obviously like a tint, right? You can tint your colors to create a gradient, or you can just select any other color to make your gradient. If you want a gradient of red and yellow, feel free to use a gradient of red and yellow. All right. So I've shown you how to do this already. Okay. And remember, do you remember? I remember showing you analogous colors. Yeah. Can you see how you can actually work with analogous colors because they are side by side of the color wheel? Okay. So you have low contrast harmony, right? It's harmony, but the contrast is not huge. All right. And then monochrome, I explained monochrome already. So obviously going in one straight line from white to the color source, or from the color source down to black. All right. Complementary colors, like I showed you already. All right. Colors that are directly opposite each other on the color wheel. Okay. So we have yellow and purple. And then you can pick another color around here. All right. Depending on how you want it to go. Okay. Create a color palette, right? You can create a color palette by honestly, for me, many times when I was creating color palettes, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have the energy to create brand new color palettes. Remember, I told you, don't reinvent the wheel. Simply innovate. All right. So when I want to find a color palette, I go on the internet and I search color palette. All right. Depending on what I'm trying to find. All right. If I want, if I don't have an idea what I'm looking for, I'm just going to look around till I find something that I like, copy it, paste it in Canva, the colors will come in, I'm gonna have it. Or color palettes with hex, right? So if I don't want to do that, I can just open the color and I can see all the hex codes. All right. So depending on the color palette you want, if you want a cool color palette, just say cool. Right? If you want bright color palette, just type bright. Okay, so there's so little you have to do right now. You have time to think about other things. All these kind of things, you might not need to bother too much about them. Except, of course, when you're trying to create a brand new brand for someone and you want to come up with the colors. So you're basically going to try to look for colors that create a nice harmony. If you want to use an analogous color, if you want to use complementary colors, whatever you want to use, all right? So in that case, you don't have the luxury of going online to find something that you want. Or you can actually find red color palettes, right? So you'll see some palettes that work with color red. You'll see some other colors that work with color red because people have worked with those colors, so you don't have to create brand new stuff. All right, so this is a good way for you to find colors to use in your design. All right, don't say I didn't do anything good for you. Okay, so I'm just going to continue my slide because there's no time. All right, so you can use vibrant colors to make elements stand out, like I explained in contrast. Okay, and limit your color palette to 4 colors. Remember, I said something similar. Personally, I would usually stick around 2 to 3, but especially when they are images. Okay, when they're images, try to keep your color between 2 and 3. When there are no images, you can do maybe a little more, but ensure that you don't have too many colors in your design. All right, so choose colors that are appropriate to the subject of your design. So look at these elements. Remember when I told you to select a color that is found in your image? So something similar is happening here. You can see that these colors are colors that are found in the picture already. Okay. Any questions at this point from anyone? No. All right. I'll proceed.
Sorry.
Okay.
No, I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
This color palette I just spoke about. There's an option on Canva that has, I think it's called style or something. Is that
Yeah.
like
I showed you styles. Yeah. So personally, sometimes, yeah, I think I showed you guys when I was exploring Canva the other day. So you can actually, when you design your stuff, for example, with this design, right? If you come to styles, it can just automatically generate different, if you change all the fonts here, change the colors, and you have something entirely new. Okay, so yeah, that's how that works. Yeah, so this is another way to find colors depending on what you want. And then you can also shuffle if you don't like the way they mixed it. You can shuffle it to change the colors just a bit, shuffle again. Okay, so yeah, that's another way to get colors right on Canva. All right, good, good, good. Thank you very much for pointing that out. All right, so let me continue with my slide. Images, like I've explained already. You can use grids to frame your images, okay? And you can use grids to reframe and size your images. So let me show you how that works really quickly on Canva. I'm going to add a new page. When I upload an image, all right, let's say, this image, for example, right? Like I said, Canva is going to make sure you don't spoil the aspect ratio of your image. So imagine that I want to use it as a square, okay? When I extend it like this, obviously, it feels like her face is gone off, right? But I want to show more of her face, so I'm just going to double click. When I double click, I can drag the image and show the part I want to show more, all right? So obviously, you can also use grids when it comes to images here. Grids, okay? So you can use grids for your images. If you want 10 images in one box, you'll find a grid for that here. All right, is this very clear? Any questions so far? No. All right, so like I said, you can also resize your images. Okay, so you see how like this particular image is the full image, but if you just want more space here, you see how we just resize the image to show more details here, but keep more space for us to have text here. All right, although personally this text is too close to the edge, I don't think this is great, but someone designed it. Okay, and it works, I mean, but it can be better. All right, so and you can filter to adjust your images on Canva. So let me show you how that works really quickly. When you import an image, all right, let's say photos, and import this picture, right? You can create a filter, epic, depending on what style you're trying to achieve. All right, so if you're trying to do something that's old school, you probably want to use something maybe along the lines of epic, grayscale, street, or those type of things. So depending on what you want, and depending on the color scheme you want, you can change and filter your images here. All right. Let me continue with my slide. Exactly. So, and oh, I forgot, you can actually adjust. Let me show you. You can adjust the image. Apart from adding a filter, you can increase the intensity and reduce it, of course. But you can also adjust the image by increasing the brightness, increasing or reducing the contrast, you know, almost like Lightroom, right? Increasing the tint, changing the tint to whatever color you want. Okay. So, you know, you can do all of that. You can even blur the pictures. You can sharpen it. All right. X process. Feel free to just jump around and try your hands around it. Okay. So next. So when you are designing things where you have different pictures in the same design, of course, so you want to ensure that you maintain a consistent look and feel. All right. So if all your pictures are, if you have two pictures in one poster, and then one picture has a sepia filter, another picture has a black and white filter, it's going to make your work look weird. So maintain similar styles for your images when you're using images. Okay. All right. So this is the end of this. I'm going to go over and make comments about the assignments right now. Are we good to go? Any questions before I proceed?
No.
Nope. All right, so let me proceed then. Oh, so how did I do this? Right, it's really simple. Let me just recreate it, right? I'll start from the beginning. So please pay attention if you missed out on anything at any point, okay? So I'm just going to come to my shape. The shapes are here, right? I use the rectangle, obviously. No, no grids, a plain rectangle, okay? Now, I stretch it to the end, okay? And then I duplicated it. I need 4. 1, 2, duplicate. No, so I don't need to duplicate, but I just need to duplicate 2 of them. All right. And then 4. Okay. So I'm just going to select 4 of them, then drag so that they'll have equal height. All right. And then I'm now going to just adjust it so that it's on the edge. I mean, I could have left it like this, but I just usually like making sure that all my edges are clean, whichever way. Okay. So now all I need to do is change the color of the ones that I want. So I've changed them to yellow and these two to black. Okay, so we're halfway there already. Come to text. And as I'm going, I'll be explaining some of the mistakes that many people made. All right. First, the font I used, I already showed the font I used in the design on the group. So you just really needed to find the exact font I used. Okay. So I'm going to come here. What color did I use? White. So the text I use here is I understand. Change the color here. Come to text color. Click white. Come to font. Find horizon or search for horizon. All right. So I understand. I understand the principles of, okay? Understand the principles of, right? And then I'll duplicate this to just type design, all right? What color did I use? Yellow, right? Now, I told you I was going to show you how to duplicate an image verbatim, all right? And by verbatim, I mean to be exactly precise to the exact same thing I did, all right? As you can see, I kept my design on the edge. Can you see this pink line? it means that my text is not coming out of here. Okay, please don't forget this in your design. Do not let your text come out of that circle place, or out of the pink line, except of course, maybe you're doing something that is highly decorative where you actually need to spread your text around the page and stuff like that. Okay, but if you are doing something that is simple text on background and stuff like that, keep your text within that pink line. Very, very important. All right. Now, so what's the way that I said I was going to teach you? You can either just download as an image. Page 1. Download. All right. So now when I download it as an image, what I simply need to do is import it into my design. All right. Keep it on the background and then reduce the opacity of everything I'm doing so that I can see the background from what I'm doing. All right. So what does that mean? So it means that if I come here, or I'm just going to select all the shapes. All right. Reduce the opacity here to maybe 30. All right. I'll place this and import the image. All right. The image is going to be, I want to take the image to the background so that it can be under. Are you understanding this so far? Are you lost at any point? If you are, let me know. So what I did now is I've taken it to the lowest layer. All right. So all the squares and all the rectangles I made are on top of it. So you can see that I can drag it up and down. Right, so right now, everything is on top of it. So because I want it to be exact, okay, what I need to do now is I just need to drag to make it look the exact, to be at the exact same location. Can you see that? That's how to, if you want to duplicate with precision, okay, this is the easiest way to duplicate with precision, okay.
David,
Yeah,
sorry. Is the position under?
the position of what?
The one you downloaded.
Yes, it's under, it's under.
Okay.
Yes, it's under. So I'm just using it as a guide to show, to be sure that I'm duplicating, replicating the exact same thing I want to replicate. So this can work for you when you're actually trying to replicate something else that you found online and stuff. Do you get?
Okay. Okay.
So I just need to move it to the exact location. And this is pretty close. All right. Okay. So there we go, right? So I'm done with this part. Now this part, obviously, and another thing, if you want to centralize your elements, you need to just select, okay? Come to position, you can see center, just click center. Everything will align to the middle. Now, as everything has aligned to the middle, you can see here that there's this, when you come out, you can see that it looks as if, obviously this is aligned, but this doesn't seem aligned because it feels like F is here, but it's not getting to the edge of this place. So in that case, me, what I typically do is I will adjust this until I can see that F is on the exact line I need it to be. Okay, so there we go, right? But for this, I just need to centralize it into the middle, right? So sometimes you might need to do a manual overhaul of what you did because of the space that is in the text box. Because when you remove your eyes from the text box, you want to use your eyes to just see, is it in the middle? No, then you adjust it, okay? Just to ensure that your alignment is sharp, irrespective of what the shape might be telling you, all right? So select. So what I'm doing, I'm pressing shift, select, 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 and I'm going to group. Now, as I've grouped it, because I want to centralize this to the middle of this square. So what I'm going to do is, can you see? So when this thing does this, it means it's centralized, right? But when you look, if you notice, mine wasn't exactly in the center, and it's because you see there's this space here. There is more than this space here. So what I actually had to do was I had to drag it to the middle and use my eyes to align it into the middle. All right, but typically you might just have to use the adjustment from the centralization from Canva. But in cases where you have those minor spaces, because those minor spaces are the things that actually separate a pro designer from a basic designer, all right? And I don't want you to be a basic designer, so you need to pay attention to these tiny, tiny details, okay? So we're up here now. Is anyone lost at this point? Have I lost you? Are you following? All right, so I'm going to insert the circles now, right? Now, I've gotten the exact shape, okay? And I just need to get the exact size. All right, so this is pretty close, almost exact, okay? Now, how do I duplicate these things such that they have the exact same amount of space in between them? Oh my God. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll select that one, duplicate, right? So once I duplicate, I'll drag it, right? And then once I have two, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new shape. All right. Now this shape is I'm just using it for measuring the distance between these two circles. Okay. So I'm just going to drag it up. Now, what I'm trying to achieve is to ensure that I'm able to get the distance between these two shapes to be accurate, sorry. All right, so I'm going to drag this to the right, okay, because this is touching the edge. What I'll do is duplicate this again. Or now, since I have two already, I just need to duplicate these two together. Once I've duplicated these two, because I know the space between them is the same, I'm just going to bring it to this edge here. All right, so I'm sure that the distance here is the same as the distance here and the same as the distance here. Okay, now one last one. This time I need my sizing guide again. Okay, so I'm just going to bring it here. Then I'll duplicate this one, then drag it to the right. Now you can see this line in the middle, obviously telling me that all my circles are on the same line. Okay, so allow Canva to guide you. All right, so all I need to do now is rotate this to angle 90, wait for 90 when it comes, because I want it to be the exact same size. Okay, angle 90. Now, this is already touching the edge, so I'm just going to click select, and press my shift down while I'm selecting all of them. Duplicate. I just need to drag it down. And then you can see this line in the center telling me that this is already centralized. You can also see this. Okay, so I know that now my circles are centralized. All right, so this is now done. Okay, so for this one, I just need to reduce the size. Okay, change the color to black. Then obviously there's this shape here. It's when you come to shapes, you see it. It's a hollow, it's like an outline shape. So just select it, right? And then reduce till you get this exact shape that you're looking for. Okay. Now, as you can see, it's already in the center. So when you see both this pink line up and this pink line down, it means that you've centralized it in reference to this shape that is under, or this shape that is here. Okay. So never miss that out, please. All right. Now, last thing, there was, if you look here, you see there was this circle thing that went around. Okay, so what I need to do now is just duplicate this shape, all right, centralize it, obviously, and then expand it. Okay, when I expand it, I can change the color of this to yellow. When I change the color to yellow, it's going to look as if it's blended with the background, or as if it was even cut out of the shape. But now I just need to take it to be under the layer, especially under the black. Okay, so watch out. You can see that our shape is coming alive. I deleted the one under just to see where we are. Okay, I'll increase the opacity. All right, so obviously I need to bring this shape up. Okay, can you see that? So let me redo it. Let me undo till I get to where we were before. Okay. So I've done this. All right. Next, the serif. Thanks to the serif. So I'm just going to drag this down because I know I'm going to use it later, but I don't need it to disturb what I'm doing now. All right. Is anybody lost at this point? Nobody. All right.
No.
So this, I explained the font I used already, Bebas. So once you come here, click on anyone you want, then thanks, all caps.
The Basneve.
Oh. Okay, so I already increase the line spacing, letter spacing, sorry. Okay, now that's how we got here. All right, so I just need to drag this up. Someone's mic is on and the person is. So now I just need to duplicate this and then change it to increase the size. What I'm pressing is Command Shift greater than. Greater than to make it bigger, less than to make it smaller, like this. Okay, that's a shortcut. If you don't want to do that, you can just increase the size from here. Okay, whichever one that you love. All right, so there we go. So I just need to reduce it a little more to be exactly what is there. Okay, so I'm done with that. Next is the serif. All right, now I'm going to come to text. Obviously, I explained this during our first meeting. It's this text I used. So once you click on it, it's going to appear. And then obviously I need to reduce the size. So let's just say 150. Oh, no, sorry, I meant here. 150. Okay. So SERIF. But it's not supposed to be in all caps. ERIF. All right. So I'm going to change it to DM serif because that's the font I used. Okay. So there we go. All I need to do now is increase the size to the exact size I want it to be. And we are almost done. Okay. All right, so I just reduce it a little more. Okay, so this is done. We're literally at the end already. And then here we have my name is, so I'm just going to copy this because I've used the horizon there already. Control V, must have pasted in the exact location. So I'm just going to drag it down. Now, another thing that I might not have showed you, this is how you can zoom in, okay, without losing your mind. So here we just type, let me reduce the size of the font to 50. Okay, and then we have the right. Now that's in all caps. What color did I use? Purple. So I'm just going to click on my purple. increase the size. Okay. So drag down. Okay. Just to get the exact same size. But I'm going to duplicate this. My name is now. Many mistakes that many people made is, if you notice, I aligned everything on this line and aligned everything on this line as well. Increase the size of some of them to make sure that they fit into it. So what you need to do now is just change the font by coming here. It's supposed to be horizon outline. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is increase the size of the font inside. And there we go. That's it. Duplicate this. Reduce the size, obviously.
I'm so sorry, David. Could you do that again?
Did I do what?
My name is how you like what you just did. Could you do it again, please?
Okay, so just come to text, right? My name is, all right. Then you change the font here to horizon outline. Okay. All you need to do is increase the font size until it's as big as this line. So it needs to, this M needs to be on this edge and S also needs to be on that edge. So I'll just click back. Okay. And just to increase it to ensure that they're on the same line. All right. So good and good. So now I drag it up. Okay. And that's it. All right. And then because I'm going to do the same thing here, so I just need to duplicate this. Once I duplicate this, I just need to reduce the size because there are more words. So I'll just change it to designer. Okay. So now I need to reduce this because I want it to align as well. So down. We're good to go. All right. So that's the end. We are done. So I just need to select all these things that are unselected before, because we still have the previous design in the background. So all these things that I made light before. So I'll Control X, delete, then pasted them back. Sorry. And then I've increased the opacity back. So everything is back up now. So I'm just going to drag them to the end. Okay, so this is the last thing we need to sort out. This is not showing, so I'm just going to bring it up. Okay, now it's on top of this. So what I need to do now is change the direction of this and make sure that I bring it forward so that it will be on top of this. Or instead of that, I can just drag all of this and bring them backwards. Okay, and there you go. All right, so that's how this assignment was done. Any questions about this? Oh, sorry, I just realized that that's not exactly what I did. So if you see here, the circle didn't even touch here, so it was directly in the middle. So it was more like this, and it was centralized. Can you see that? So that's exactly what I did. Okay, yeah, and that's all. Any questions about this? No questions. So please don't forget, all right, your alignment is one of the most important things you will ever get right. the better you are at alignment, the better your design life will be. All right. And it's a fundamental tool that you need to get right from the beginning. Okay. So I'm just going to close this and move on to this. How many of us had issues with this and what were the issues?
Removing the background of my picture.
Moving it to where and from where?
No, like taking away the
Oh,
background of my
removing. Did you
picture.
remove the BG? Was he having any issues?
Yes, I did that, but like downloading it was still giving me a white background. I don't even understand. Maybe because I was using my phone. Sure.
Oh, maybe that's
I'll
what.
try it with my laptop.
Okay. All right. So now, like I said, your alignment is key. Your alignment is so key. Remember, I said one of the things that many people go wrong with this design, number one, the size of your image. So for some people, right, I saw they put their image, but their image was small. Like, how can I explain it? The image was small like this. As if they're afraid, right? Now, I mean, this is not a bad size, but especially this is because this is not what I requested for. So I need it to be as big as possible. Obviously, not too big that it covers the page, but big enough that it's a very, very obvious part of the design. Okay, so something like this. All right, that's one. Number two, let's talk. Obviously, you can see that let's talk, we're not on the same line. Okay, we're not on the same line. I brought this one forward, right, just to give it that angle edging. All right. Now, about taking your business to the next level, many people got this right. But what many other people didn't also get right was the location and the scale of these icons. For some people, theirs was this big, right? You want to make sure that your shape is the exact height of this your text here, not bigger. All right, the exact size of this your text here in terms of height. All right, and then another thing is ensure that everything is on this line. If you see the line flows from here like this, everything will be on this line. So your details, you won't leave them like this. Everything needs to be on this line. Okay, that is very important. And then another thing, I saw some people's own, theirs was too close to the edge. So you have something like this, right? This is too big. All right, reduce the size, okay, and keep it in the center. For some people, theirs was kind of like this, where this whole box was not centralized on this rectangle. All right, so you can see now that this box I just grouped is centralized to this particular rectangle. Okay, so it's one of the most important things as well. All right, and then apart from that, it's just inserting the picture, and this was pretty easy. Yeah. So any questions on this? Move on to the last one, and then we can call it a day. Oh my God, it's 10:40. I'm so sorry. No questions. All right. It's just that you actually need to be a good designer before you finish this course. So, all right. Means all of us to suffer. Suffer in this teaching alone. All right. So for this one was like the simplest. It was just a game of alignment. So many people got the alignment of the text, but they didn't get the alignment of the box. So the box needs to be aligned like this in the middle. You will see the pink line up, you see the pink line horizontally and vertically. That is how to centralize your documents. And also, some people forgot to add the overlay. There's a black overlay here. So this is the particular image. If I use the exact same image just like this, it won't have worked. So all I needed to do was come to shape, to elements, add a shape, spread it up, spread it down, make it black. and then reduce opacity. Okay. And that's it. This was pretty easy. All right.
Sorry, the background was from where?
Background was from backgrounds. So I think it was on the abstracts. Yeah, so this is the one I used for the first one. This is the one I used for this one.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question before we call it today? First thing we're doing on Monday morning is we're learning design terms and how to apply them. Why is because it's going to help us understand and know what to look for when we want to find what you're looking for. All right, so I'll send you assignments tomorrow. Please do them and be a better designer. Some of you do not post your design on social media. It was compulsory, but I don't know how many of you did it.
I'm so sorry. Hi, David. Can I say something about that? Yeah, okay, so I tried to post mine, but I was having issues with making, especially because the three different designs were different sizes.
Yes.
I don't know how you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The perfection one was vertical, was landscape and stuff. So I had issues fitting it into the frame, fitting the three pictures into I don't know how to explain it, Sha. So, but it was cutting.
Okay,
so,
no, you don't have to. You don't have to fit them into one frame. You can share them differently. You can share them on your story. You can. It doesn't have to go on your Instagram post. Do you get? So you can post maybe one of them on your Instagram post, or post. You can post all of them on your Instagram post, and then still share them on your story, just so that it shows.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so but even apart from the sign, like how does one, if one wants to post three different designs with different
yes, you're going to use three different documents. So the reason why I'm actually making you work with different sizes is because typically different social media platforms require different sizes. So for example, most times Instagram pictures are squares, stories are usually portraits, but Twitter posts are usually landscape. Okay?
Right.
So you are actually already learning how to design for all three platforms at the same time.
Okay. So is it impossible to post three different design sizes in one post on Instagram feed?
Well, many times it will crop out some parts of the different, because the landscape one is specifically a Twitter size. So you can post the landscape one on Twitter, post the square on your Instagram post, and then post the portrait one on your Insta story.
Okay. Thank you. I should have clarified. I'm really sorry. I'll post my assignment tonight. I'm sorry.
Any other question before we proceed? Proceed, sir. Sorry, before we close.
Yes.
Come again.
I have a question. No.
All right, please ask your question.
Okay, for that this last one you did, what was the size, the design you used? Like, was it landscape? What?
This one?
Yes.
Okay, so it's presentation.
Okay, presentation. Okay.
Yeah, presentation. So when you come here, one last thing, let me show you. You can. So when you want to create a new design, for example, once you come here, just come to home. Right. So when you come to create a new design, right, you can create a custom size. All right. So for example, Instagram is 1080 by 1080, right? It shows Instagram post already. Insta story is 1920 by 1080. That's presentation, sorry. All right. But Instagram post is 1080 by 1920. That's Insta story. Do you get? So the different, so in case you just want something that is like 100 by 1000 by 2000, maybe for a purpose that is not a pre-made template, you can create a new sizing for what you want to use for. So, for example, if you're designing for maybe a website and you want to design a banner for a website, and they say the size for this banner is 200 by 745 pixels. So all you need to do is come here, type 200 by 745, create your design, and send it. So that's it. Any other question before we close?
Yes, please. I have a question.
All right.
Sorry, I got in quite late, and yeah, I know the class was recorded, but I was going to ask when it was going later, and fill out on the
You're going
parts
to
I
ask
missed.
what?
I was going to ask when it's going to the link is going to be out for us to watch on YouTube, because I missed a large part
I'll
of,
post it.
of
I'll
today's
try and post
class.
it up on tonight if my internet is quick enough to download and upload. I'll try to send it in tonight.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? All right, we can call it a day. Expect the link today or tomorrow morning, and the assignments for the weekend is obviously going to be long. So take your time, design and design and design. By the end of this month, if you don't want to design again, you have tried. All right. I'm joking. All right.
So when we get the recording for this class?
I'll try to make it available tonight. If not, early tomorrow.
Very distracting.
I'll try to make
I'll
the recording
this time, but no problem.
early tomorrow.
Very distracting.
All
right.
Thank you. All right. So that's it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Everything.